How do you read me? Over. 8 November 1, Zulu Hotel. This is NA1SS. You are out there. You are coming in extremely broken. Over. 8 November 1, Zulu Hotel. This is NA1SS. You are extremely broken. Over. 8 November 1, Zulu Hotel. I am ready for questions. NA1SS. Over. Minami, that's a great question. We took most of our countermeasures while we were still on the ground. We were in quarantine for weeks, as were our families. So we made sure that no one had COVID before we launched. And so now that we're on the station, we are COVID-free. Over. Satono, great question. I find for me, it's an internal driving force. I want to accomplish things and do things that are maybe not always easy to do. Over. Tomoko, I find the way I stay motivated is to keep looking at the big picture. We are accomplishing great things in space, and I am part of it, and I find that very exciting. Over. Natsumi, there are so many beautiful things to look at in space. Of course, our planet is very beautiful, but I also think that looking at the Milky Way is absolutely amazing. Over. Mal, one of the best things about being in space is being able to float all the time. And so you can play all kinds of tricks and have fun floating when you're in space. Over. Guy, you know, I don't find too much that is scary up here. I find the rocket ride up a little bit scary, but mostly exciting. Over. Oh, that's a great question. You know, on the space station, while it's fun to float, sometimes it can be inconvenient because it's hard to keep things where you want them to be, and you're constantly moving. Over. Judo, fantastic question, and I am not making this up. My favorite space food is what Soichi brings up, and it's the Japanese curry. What I want to do after I have a shower is to sit outside in nature. One of the things that we don't have is the ability to feel the sun on our face, to feel the breezes, to smell flowers, things like that. So I want to be out in nature. Over. It's actually two things for me. I think the hardest thing physically is training for spacewalks because the spacesuits weigh so much on the ground. And then mentally, I think the hardest thing for me was learning the Russian language. Over. Yes, this is a very interesting one. Shooting stars. But it's not that shooting stars are particularly hard to see. It's just that we have to look down towards the Earth to see them. Kyochiro, you know, the hardest work in space is not actually the work that we do up here. It's being able to keep our connections with our family and friends on the ground. Our communications are limited, and so sometimes it makes it hard. Over.
Hey, Hisagi Junior High School, こんにちは。宇宙飛行士の野口聡一です。今日はシャノンと一緒に講師に聞いてました。Hisagi 中学校頑張れ。Over. Okay, we are 7 of us on the space station. We are having a good time. Hopefully, Hisagi Junior High School also have a great time, and you enjoyed the great view of Mount Fuji. And we do the same. Thank you. Over.
Thank you very much. I very much enjoyed this contact. So, this is NA1SS. Over and out.